Akosia Adeti. This is News Today. And this afternoon, it's a strike Tuesday as threats of institutional paralysis looms with senior staff of the University of Ghana and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Medical School declaring an indefinite strike over worsening conditions of service.
I hereby declare an indefinite strike action.
The Parliament of Ghana begins its second session this afternoon with over 600 pending bills and questions as the House readies for President John Mahama's State of the Nation's address. And as well in the bulletin, we have details as Majority Leader announces government's decision to change Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport as Parliament readies to pass a bill to effect the change. And as well in the bulletin, Ghana's cocoa sector faces a looming production crisis as farmers contemplate smuggling cocoa beans and selling of large tracts of land to illegal miners over delayed payments of 3 months purchase in arrears.
We used the initial payment to settle our labors. Because I have no money, I told my son to stay home from school.
So with that for details, as agricultural economists suggest, the government must not sacrifice the welfare of the cocoa farmers as Cocoa Board rethinks its finances strategy after scrapping the syndicated loan program.
See, wanting to get the most from the international market is good, but I think that it doesn't have to be done by sacrificing the welfare of the farmer.
We're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Joy News, independent, fearless, credible. Please stay for details. We appreciate your company this afternoon. And first, today is shaping up as a strike Tuesday as organized labor escalates pressure on the government over deteriorating conditions of service. Members of the Senior Staff Association of the University of Ghana are gathering at the University of Ghana this morning to formally declare a nationwide strike protesting what they describe as unfavorable variation of their conditions of service by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. At the same time, the Senior Staff Association of Ghana has announced an indefinite industrial action citing prolonged neglect and worsening conditions of service across public sector institutions. We'll be connecting shortly to our reporters on ground at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the University of Ghana to bring you live updates on how the strike action is unfolding and its impact on essential services. Let's start from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where the Senior Staff Association has declared an indefinite industrial action over poor conditions of service. And Stephen Mensah joins us via Zoom. Steve, what are the specific reliefs they are seeking?
Asking for an immediate assurance by government, on the part of government, that they ensure that all the allowances that they are owed is given to them by government. They also say that they've engaged the NLC over the last 1 to 2 years, and all interventions through their agencies or through their communications with the NLC and government has proved futile. I'm here with the president or chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the University of Ghana, Kolebu branch. I'd want to engage him on some of the interventions he has been seeking and what he has made so far from his communication with government. Senior, you're welcome to join you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My first question to you will be about your strike action. Currently, why are you going on the strike?
Yeah, so we are going on the strike on 3 issues. One, our conditions of service, which has been altered by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission without, our prior consent, or without, having that agreement with them, because we all know it has always been the case that unions and government and Fair Wages and other bodies would sit down and then put together our conditions of service. And that is our document that that binds our working agreement with our employers. So it got to a point we realized that Fair Wages has been taking unilateral decision. They, aside what is in our condition of service, they decide to implement certain things that are alien to us. For instance, overtime in the public university, if you do overtime, if you work overtime, the allowance that you are given as compensation is overtime allowance. Strangely, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has written to public universities to implement something they call call-in allowance, which is a very low figure, which is alien to us. It is not in our conditions of service. Then we ask ourselves, why would we have a living condition of service and then someone or another body will take such a unilateral decision? This matter got to a stalemate when we're having negotiation. So when it gets to stalemate, status quo holds until we are able to agree. But we have not had a new agreement. We don't have anything like call-in in our conditions of service. Yet our people are doing overtime and they are paying them call-in allowance. This month, every staff who has worked overtime has been paid call-in allowance, and it's about half of what they would have benefited as overtime. That notwithstanding, our tier 2 contributions that we pay as staff, government deducts it, and these monies are not paid to the fund managers. And this is serious for staff who are going on retirement. Even we who have some few years to go, we are worried because this money, when it goes to government, to our fund managers, they invest it, and the dividends is what is given to us, so that when we are eventually going home, then we survive on it.
So take us through the impact this is going to have. You've declared an indefinite strike action. What indefinite strike? What's going to be the impact?
Yeah, so the impact is basically going to be withdrawing all services that senior staff offer to the university. So talk about the nurses. I'm sure you were at the meeting, you saw the nurses who were there. I mean, we have technicians, lab technicians, our security. This time around, because of the intensity of the matter, we have decided to add the security to this particular strike action. And it is not only the senior staff that is on this action. The Tertiary Education Workers Union, that's the TEU, our brothers on the other side, are also part of it. So it means that every other work, that is the senior staff and the junior staff in all public universities in Ghana, are going to lay down their tools. They are not going to render any service to the universities until these matters are resolved. The last issue has to do with one of our sister campuses, Unimac, who were, migrated to the Controller and Accountant General payroll. And for 4 years, allowances that they are supposed to enjoy as senior staff of the university, they are not being given. They are paying them certain allowances that is alien to us, and for the 4 years that they have owed them this allowance, this matter is also before National Labour Commission, and nothing has really been done about it. And we are losing hope in the government and its action so far, as far as our conditions of service is concerned.
For this indefinite strike you are going on, have you engaged NLC Fair Wages before going on the strike? Honestly,
I'm very happy about this particular question, because I told you there was a stalemate. We were in the middle of negotiation with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Government side was there, Vice Chancellor Ghana was present. Then we declared a stalemate. So when we declared a stalemate, this matter went to National Labour Commission. As the matter is still at the National Labour Commission, which has the powers of a high court, the matter is still being discussed. Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has gone behind the National Labour Commission and issued an instruction that this matter that you are still dealing with, we don't care. Let the universities pay call-in allowance instead of overtime. And we say no, that cannot happen. At least we are before a commission. So why don't we even wait for a final decision or determination to be made on that matter? Why would Fair Wages go and take a unilateral decision and order universities to pay call-in allowance instead of, concentrating on what is in our conditions of service or allowing the due process to be exhausted? They fail to do all these things, and our members are becoming unhappy because we know that with what they have started so far, touching our overtime, deciding not to pay our tier 2 allowances, there are other aspects of our conditions of service. For instance, our leave days. In the public universities, we are entitled to 40 days leave. This time around, what the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission are doing is that they are proposing a 28-day leave for all senior staff, which we disagreed. And if these overtime issues are allowed to pass through, it means that the next item is going to be tight with our leave days and all that. So in order for that not to happen, we have decided to take this action so that if they have such intentions, they would coil it.
So that was the president of the Senior Staff Association here at the Kolebu School, University of Ghana Kolebu School, Medical School. And he, as you can see, he has been clad in red armband, and so are most of the senior staff we engaged before coming on air. And some of the senior staff, I mean, all the senior staff have been directed to go home, halt all services and go home immediately. We understand that the libraries have been closed, and all of them, the mock inclusive has been directed to be closed, and the senior staff have been directed to go home. This is what we can report, and we're giving you the updates as per what happens over here.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. Steve is reporting from Kolebu. Also, the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana members have gathered at the University of Ghana to declare nationwide strike on their conditions of service variation by the Fair Wages and Salary Commission. Fatal Bayaga is on the ground for us. Fatal, tell me, what's the mood over there?
Mood is quite glaring. Who are gathered here because this particular step taken by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is going to have a significant impact on their members. In fact, they say that the call-in allowance is significantly lower than the overtime allowance which has been paid over the period. And for that reason, this new step is going to
Well, we'll try and reconnect with Fatal. In the meantime, take a listen to the senior staff members.
It has to do with the variation of our condition of service, which is overtime allowance for senior staff. We have that item in our condition of service, that as and when senior staff are required to work beyond regular working hours, holidays or weekends, they ought to be paid overtime. And it has a certain calculation, but it is being varied by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, which represented the government in this negotiation process. And so we will not sit down for them to vary it unilaterally like that.
How will this affect your the living conditions of your members?
Brother, it has already affected, because as I speak with you, in January, work that was done in December, which was supposed to be paid in January, they have already slashed it by using call-in to pay, even though the issue is still at the Labour Commission. And our members are just, because if already you know that I'm getting 200 Ghana cedis home, and this call-in allowance has now come to give you 5 Ghana cedis, how has that improved your life? It has rather worsened your life.
Is your strike targeted to distort the academic?
Never, brother. As I said earlier, we are parents. We are aunties and uncles. We have our nephews and nieces here. We are never in any way trying to disrupt any academic work. But this is the time where we have reached. We just have to speak up at this particular time. It's just unfortunate that it so has to meet with the students in school. But it is never up. We want our condition of service to be restored, not to be tampered with. Once they listen to us, why not? Even if it's tomorrow, we'll go back. But if they don't listen, we cannot say because we will disrupt the academic calendar, we should keep quiet and then suffer. No.
You claim that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is acting with double standards.
Exactly.
Why do you say that?
Exactly so, because when we met at the Labour Commission, they came to the Labour Commission to testify that indeed Senior Staff Association has an agreement with them, Fair Wages. And then, in the same vein, after that 16th October meeting with them at the Labour Commission that they came to testify, they wrote another letter to University of Ghana Vice Chancellor that they are doing the right thing by not paying us overtime. They should use call-in to pay. Is that not a double standard? When you know very well that even in your minutes to us on the 2nd of October that we had with you at Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, it captured that item overtime, which was still ongoing.
Right, good that I have my colleague Fatal back. Fatal, what more have they been saying?
Since May 2025, many of their members are struggling because this allowance has not been paid. They, in fact, say that if you look at the call-in allowance, it's significantly lower as compared to the overtime allowance. So for that reason, it is unfair for the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to take that particular decision. But one thing they also said this afternoon is that they want all their members to leave the various campuses at the moment. In fact, they say that they are going to send task forces or individuals to go and ensure that all their members stop work immediately and go home. So that is what the association is talking about this afternoon in relation to the strike. But another thing is that we try to get a response from the University of Ghana. In fact, it is one of the universities that they claim began this particular decision. They claim that they do not have enough funds to be able to pay the overtime allowance, and that's why they considered the call-in allowance. We try to get a response from the management about how this would affect academic activities, but we are unsuccessful with that. But because this is a very important union in terms of the university activities, maybe this will prompt an emergency meeting by the university management and also drag in the government, because funds are involved in all of this, to find a lasting solution to this and then ensure that they return back to work.
Well, thank you so much, Fatal. We definitely will be following this strike action to bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. But away from that, the Food and Drugs Authority has issued what it calls a final warning to food service operators nationwide as it moves to fully enforce the mandatory food hygiene permit regime. The authority says beginning this month, any food establishments operating without a valid permit will face immediate closure. The action, it explains, is aimed at protecting public health and strengthening food safety standards across the country. And in a press statement, the FDA emphasized that the exercise is not the introduction of a new directive, but the enforcement of existing regulation. It is therefore urging operators to regularize their operations promptly to avoid sanctions. And joining us this afternoon to provide more insight is the Deputy Chief Executive in charge of the Food Division at the Food and Drugs Authority, Roderick Kwabena Dade Ajay. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So for food businesses that may be shut down during these enforcement exercise, what specific conditions must they meet before they are allowed to reopen?
Yeah, okay. I don't know whether I was very clear on what you said. Yes, but the directive is that if you do not have the requisite permit, you can't do work. Just do the right thing, because public health is very important for us. So we have educated over and over, and this is just a reminder, but it's the routine thing that is supposed to happen. If you're out there, you are working, you do not have the permit, that you can't work. That's you're operating illegally.
That's quite clear. We're asking about those who may be sanctioned. So what kind of sanction is this? You say immediate closure. But after that, how long do they need to maybe regularize it, get a permit? What are the specific sanctions that you met to them? Or is just a closure, that's all?
Yeah, I mean, once you do not have the requisite permit, closure, as you can stay closed as long as you will take to comply. So that will be let's say, up to the operator.
Okay. Well, what has triggered this? And I hear you say that it's not a new regulation. It existed already. You're enforcing it. But what has triggered it? Is it that you have noticed there are many more food operators that are operating without the requisite licenses or anything? What has triggered it?
Oh, it is a standard thing. I mean, we are, just conscientizing people, but it is a constant thing that we do. Part of our surveillance, we see what is happening. Those who have not been doing the right thing, we give them, calls and tell them to do what is expected. Maybe something they can hide out there. And sometimes there are new places that may spring up who have not done what is expected. Really, before you get into the business, you are supposed to familiarize yourself with the necessary things that you should do. So if you haven't done that, please take cue and just do the right thing. And then that is not the reason. You remember last year what happened? Cholera, broke out. That you had Accra, Central Region, Western Region. All of these things are, what you don't want is related to safety, issues. So we are just telling people to do what is expected.
Okay, I mean, beyond you calling on people to do what is expected, which I assume is one of the mechanisms, what concrete other mechanisms has the FDA put in place to monitor at least compliance, track repeat offenders, and ensure that facilities ordered to close remain shut until they fully meet all the food safety requirements? Do I still have Mr.
Well, your voice was slurring there, so I didn't hear clearly what you said.
My question is that beyond the routine checkup, which other internal mechanisms have you put in place to track offenders and ensure that it doesn't happen again? Or those who are supposed to meet the fully operation requirements do that?
Yeah, okay. So FDA already, I mean, countrywide, we have, we train people on what they have to do so that those who do not understand what the requirements are, at least they get educated. So we have the industrial support service that provides that kind of training, and a lot of people have taken advantage of that. There may be third parties that one can seek training also from, and our doors are always open. FDA, we're working for everybody's safety. So those who have come, made inquiries, we've also attended to them. So it's a friendly face that we are showing out there. People should take advantage, come. If you have some problems, sometimes some people need to go through some kind of stages or can explain one or two things. And we can't give, if we say there's not food safety related, and for example, you have to change some kind of infrastructure and the rest, we are ready to work with you. We are not out there to spoil anybody's business, but at least the ones that border on the safety of the food that you have prepared, at least that plate of food must be prepared properly and served safely to people.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us on the news today, Mr. Dadiaje. Now, away from that, chaos and fear swept through Tamale Senior High School on Monday evening as flames tore through the girls' dormitory, displacing several students. The incident marks the third devastating fire in just 1 week to hit girls' dormitories in the northern region, following incident at Tolon SHS and Northern School of Business. Joy News Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugiri provides details of the devastating fire.
The latest is that another fire at the Tamale Senior High School, and this happened last night. The washroom facilities, we are told, was gutted, and then some students have stored their belongings in portions of the washroom that was destroyed. But fortunately, the fire service was in early. They were able to stop it from spreading to the other end of the facility. Two students were collapsed, were sent to the Saviligo Hospital. I checked this morning. I was told they were still there, but probably they'll be discharged later this morning. Now, Mamiesi, what is familiar with all these schools are that they have all experienced fire before. In 2018, Tamale Senior High School, portions of the girls' dormitory was engulfed in fire. And so when you go to the school, some of the girls are living in portion that was not destroyed in that first fire. Now, when you come to Northern School of Business, they also had a disaster last year. That was around March, but that one was a rainstorm that destroyed the entire facility. And then just when it was reconstructed, there was fire on the 28th of January. Tamale Senior High School, fortunately, it didn't affect the dormitories, and so they can continue their activities. Now, in Nobisco, the MP for Tamale South, who is the education minister, and the MP for Tamale North were in Nobisco. That was on over the weekend. And they all promised some form of support to these schools so that the students can be comfortable and learn. And there's a defect building in the school there. The MP for Tamale North says he would reconsider working on it so that the students can have a place to sleep. The MP for Tamale South said Get Fund will be constructing a hostel facility for the girls. And so provisions are being made, but as to how soon it will come, that is another issue. But the two MPs have all assured that it would be a quick process so that the students can be able to have a good place to sleep and study.
The Parliament of Ghana has resumed for the second session of this 9th Parliament, but with a backlog of over 600 bills and questions pending from 2025. This was revealed by leadership of the House in its maiden media engagement ahead of sitting. The Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, also indicated that the House is also getting ready to host President John Dramani Mahama to deliver his second State of the Nation's address. Now, let's go on Zoom, and my colleague James Savage is joining us. James, so aside the pending bills, the Majority Leader has also given indications of what to expect in the sitting period. Tell us more. James, if you can hear me, please unmute. Can you hear me, James? If you can hear me, kindly unmute and tell us what the leadership of the House have been saying. Do I have James? Well, we'll try and reconnect with my colleague James to bring you what's happening in Parliament as it reconvenes today. But away from Parliament, the act of illegal fishing in coastal areas has destroyed fish species, damaged habitats, posed health hazards, contaminated water bodies, led to conflict with semi-industrial fishers, and the extreme cases resulted in losses of life. Mohammed Kayaba has more in today's climate evidence.
Many agrarian communities in Ghana rely heavily on farming and fishing as their main source of livelihood. These farmers do everything possible to make good profits for sustenance. Circumstances such as finances, lack of job opportunity, inadequate education, lack of law enforcement, politicization of issues among fishermen has led some individuals in the fishing communities to engage in illegal fishing, which tends to create negative impact on fishing and put the lives of fish consumers at risk, as well as destroying some aquatic animals.
We take you to the Winneba landing site to engage leadership and some canoe owners on issues of illegal fishing in the area and its impact on fishing as well as the consumers.
From 90s to 2000. In so light, it's started light and also about Saturn and I'm a coffee.
Phenomena, Namadama, not a day, the Medanians can coffee. Panoso Wabaka, and the walk water patrol. As a normal Yana Mamba, was Wabaka.
Dr. Jemima Etonam, fishery scientist and a lecturer at the University of Education, Winneba, highlights some critical issues that surround climate change and the fishing industry.
So as we are having climate change and we are seeing its effects such as sea level rise and increased sea surface temperatures, it means that the strength of that upwelling phenomenon is greatly reduced. Why this affects our fisheries so much is that the stronger the upwelling, the colder the water, the more nutrients are able to come up to the surface, and the more what we call primary producers, organisms that fix sunlight directly. We have algae and other organisms, and then we also have tiny crustaceans we call copepod, which also move in to feed on these algae.
Dr. Victor Owusu, a development geographer and a lecturer at the Department of Geography at the University of Education, highlights what government should do in addressing illegal fishing in the community.
Their major concern is that if they don't use these things, then they are going to lose their source of livelihoods. They will not be able to support their families. So it's all about job creation. If interventions can be introduced to move some of the fisher folk from marine fishing to maybe fish farming.
For Joy News, Mohammed Kayaba.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Watching news today, and I'll take you back to the earlier story about fire, how chaos and fear swept through Pong Tamale Senior High School on Monday evening as flames tore through the girls' dormitory, displacing several students. AD01 Babahudu is the Northern Regional Ghana National Fire Service Public Relations Officer and joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much. Good afternoon for joining us on the news bulletin today. Do you know what brought about the Pong fire particularly? Do I have AD01? If I have you and you can hear me, kindly unmute. AD01 Hudu, if you can hear me, do you have the initial report on what may have caused the Pong Tamale fire? Right, I'll take you back to Parliament whilst we try to reconnect with the Public Relations Officer up north for the Ghana National Fire Service, and back to my colleague James Aveji, who's in Parliament. So, James, we're telling our viewers about the pending bills, over 600 of them. The Majority Leader has also given indications of what to expect in a certain period. Tell us more.
Yes, I'm a pass. So, out of this 600, 300 of the pending actions are bills, and the others, over 300 of them, are pending questions from members of Parliament to the various ministers on various activities within their constituencies, which is always part of the processes of Parliament. And so Parliament is currently doing 600 carry forward of all of those from 2025, which they will be addressing. Some other key bills, according to the Majority Leader, are expected, including a bill to change the name of Ghana's international airport, the Kotoka International Airport, to Accra International Airport. Although the Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, was not clear what the reasons for that change of name is, the last few weeks saw a renewed advocacy from a number of persons, including an advocate, one Odatefio, who held a conference 2 weeks ago, indicating that they would want the name of the airport to be changed because they believe that the current bearer of the name on that airport, according to them, is a coup plotter in the history of Ghana, and so they believe that the first entrance of people to the country must bear the name of such a person. I'm sure when the bill comes to Parliament, it will have the full details of why government believes this change of name must happen. But that's the background we know leading to this particular story as we know now. Other things include significant changes in the energy sector, where the energy minister is expected to bring a number of amendments to a number of the agencies under the ministries, including some update on the negotiations with the various IPPs as far as the energy sector debt is concerned. All of those will be considered, including other sectors of the economy. The 24-hour Secretariat or Authority Bill is also expected in this Parliament to freshen out that particular authority to fulfill government flagship promise to the people of Ghana, which is the 24-hour economy. And so all of those things are expected, including the amendment to Ghana's legal education, are all expected in this particular Parliament.
Well, thank you so much, James. It's going to be a very eventful Parliament, and we look forward to all of that. But away from Parliament, as the Ghana Cocoa Board races against time to rethink its financing scheme in cocoa purchases, some farmers in the Ashanti region are contemplating smuggling the beans to neighboring countries and selling off their lands to illegal miners. For 3 months now, the farmers have eagerly awaited payments for the bags of cocoa beans they sold to the Cocoa Board through licensed cocoa buying companies. Their regular visits to the local purchasing company for their money have proven futile, throwing many of them into a real struggle in fending for themselves and family. Emmanuel Barikweku traveled to Kofiase, a small cocoa farming community in the Ashanti region, and our reports.
David Berko and his wife come through their parcel of cocoa farm in the Kofiasu community of the Ashanti region in desperate search for ripe cocoa pods. After hours of frantic search, they collect a basket of the pods and head to their thatched house sitting in the middle of the deep cocoa plantation. This has been their source of livelihood for nearly 3 decades. But the past few months have been unprecedentedly difficult. Times are hard now. We used the initial payment to settle our labors. Because I have no money, I told my son to stay home from school.
2 days school school. It's coming be no more. When I'm not going to school
For 3 months now, the couple have not received any funds for the cocoa beans they supplied to the local license buying company. Requesting money due them has become a daily struggle, throwing them into untoward hardship. Yesterday we ate ampesi. This morning, we have no cash on us for food. The purchasing clerk told us to come for the money, but when my husband went there, he told me there isn't any now. A few meters away from David's abode, I meet Shaibu, also a cocoa farmer. His story isn't any different. We are suffering. We have no money. I thought you had come here to give me money. My wife has left me alone in the bush to cater for our children. This has been the plight of many cocoa farmers across the country. After receiving October payments, funds for all the harvests they made from November to date have not been paid. The joy that erupted after the government increased cocoa prices has been short-lived. This government cares less about the cocoa sector. We've never been in this situation before. The Cocoa Board announced no syndicated loans were secured for the 2025-2026 crop season. Randy Abe is the CEO of the Cocoa Board.
Previous year, the thing delayed to 22nd December. Never happened before. And we didn't even get what we wanted and had to go to Ministry of Finance for some $70 million or something, which is also a debt, to be able to do the financing of the cocoa. So we were in troubled waters. So the buyers agreed to then finance the crop so that they'll be able to retrieve those low price contracts now. Yes, I know. Whilst they can also buy a bit of this. However, as I speak, Ministry of Finance, we are looking at a financing model. Another one? Yes, we are looking at a financing model. Moving beyond 25-26.
The reworked cocoa financing system saw farmers sell beans to licensed buying companies, which then sell to the Cocoa Board, and through its marketing arm, Cocoa Board sells the cocoa to international buyers. The arrears have seen many licensed buying companies operating under Cocoa Board halt purchases. Kojo Edubofuo is a purchasing clerk for Olam at a corner.
Number 2, yasa credit cocoa ni bi wo company ni chen akoko do officer or say farmers ni sika no there.
The money isn't coming. We've credited some bags of cocoa beans, which we expect payments are made for them. The LBCs have informed us not to take any cocoa again.
Free office and as a government companies,
Data from the Bank of Ghana indicates cocoa traded at approximately $58,000 per ton on the global markets as of December 2025, declining from over $11,000 at the beginning of this year. Professor Robert Edu is an agriculture economist at the KNUST.
It's difficult to understand how they are going to manage things because, see, wanting to get the most from the international market is good, but I think that it doesn't have to be done by sacrificing the welfare of the farmer. we must find a way to raise internal funds to pay the farmer off. If it continues this way, it means that the light crop that is going to come, many farmers will rather prefer to cross the border.
From here at Kofiase in the Ashanti region, for Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bryce Kweku.
Ghana has been selected to host the 2026 edition of the Remapsen Media Forum and Awards following major recognition for the country and one of its leading health journalists at this year's event in Cotonou, Benin. At the same ceremony, Ghana's Remapsen country coordinator and Joy News editor Emefa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli was adjudged best journalist in health reporting in the radio category. Here's more in this report.
Ghana has emerged as a continental leader in health and environmental journalism, earning the right to host the 2026 Remapsen Media Forum and Awards in Accra this November. The announcement was made at the 2025 Remapsen Media Forum and Awards for the promotion of health and environment, held from January 28 to 30 in Cotonou, Benin. The event coincided with the commemoration of World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day, placing a strong spotlight on diseases that continue to affect millions across Africa but receive limited media attention. At the closing ceremony, Ghana was named Most Committed Country in Remapsen 2025, receiving the prestigious Michelle Sidibe Prize for Sustained Engagement and Leadership in Media Advocacy on Health and Environmental Issues. Yusuf Bamba is president of Remapsen.
Les médias ne sont pas de simples observateurs.
The media are not mere observers. They are agents of social change, capable of informing, raising awareness, influencing behavior, holding decision makers accountable, and mobilizing communities. By addressing neglected tropical diseases with rigor, humanity, and consistency, we can help save lives and restore hope to affected populations.
Benin formally handed over the baton to the Ghanaian delegation, led by the country coordinator Emefa Etiamwa Eli. Ghana's recognition was further reinforced when Emefa Ewenam Etiamwa Eli of Joy News was adjudged best journalist in health reporting radio category, emerging among journalists from across West and Central Africa. She also reaffirmed Joy News' and Remapsen Ghana's commitment to sustained reporting on health and environmental issues, particularly those affecting vulnerable communities.
For me, this award means staying true to the social contract of journalism. And for Remapsen Ghana, the multimedia group that I represent, it is a call for us to stay committed to telling stories that bring hope and make people feel dignified in society.
African Union Special Envoy for the African Medicines Agency and Global Health Advocate, Dr. Michelle Sidibe, underscored the indispensable role of journalism in public health systems. The two-day forum featured high-level discussions on NTD advocacy, climate health linkages, resource mobilization, and cross-border media collaboration with support from partners including the Gates Foundation, WHO, Speak Up Africa, and others.
Congratulations to Emefa Eli Etiamwa. You're watching News Today. Please stay for some business update.
Hey, welcome back to Business here on Joy News Today. My name is Winston Taki, and out of first business story. The Ghana reference rate is for February 2026 is expected to ease marginally to 14.58%. This projection is based on our calculations using the established industry formula. There is more in this report.
The Ghana reference rate, a key benchmark for setting of interest rates by commercial banks, and it stood at 15.68% for the month of January 2026. However, based on our own calculations, the rate should go down to 14.58%. Now, we arrived at this final figure based on the formula used in calculating the reference rate. That is, take the monetary policy rate of 15.5%, the interbank rate of about 14.19%, and the Treasury bills rate of 11.19%, expressed in the formula given. That should let us arrive at this rate of 14.58%. Based on the established formula, it is clear that the monetary policy rate accounted for the highest weighting in the basket when it comes to calculating this reference rate. If the commercial banks don't apply any extra charge, then we could see the reference rate be announced on Wednesday at a rate of 14.58%. It actually represents about 1.1% cut in the reference rate from the month of January 2026. This should go a long way to impact on fresh loans, as commercial banks are expected to reduce their interest rates, and also for persons that negotiated their loans at a variable rate. However, individuals that negotiated their loans with the commercial banks at a fixed rate may not witness any change or review when it comes to the cost of servicing their loans when this Ghana reference rate is announced tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Ghana is losing valuable investment capital and long-term growth opportunities to countries such as Mauritius, South Africa, and Nigeria due to gaps in its private equity and venture capital regulatory framework. Speaking in an interview with Joy Business, the CEO of the Ghana Venture Capital and Private Equity Association, Ahmad Jampo, says the passing of the limited partnership framework will position Ghana as an attractive, competitive domestic investment destination to accelerate private sector growth. We'll bring you more after this break. Stay tuned. Right back.
Time for sports on GN today. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, Ghana's national futsal team are targeting revenge against Zambia as they eye a big step towards AFCON qualification. The team was eliminated in the last AFCON after losing to the Zambians. Lawrence Baidu has more in this report.
Ghana's futsal team will face Zambia in the final round of qualifiers for the 2026 Africa Cup of Nations. The first leg of the encounter is scheduled for Tuesday, February 3 in Cape Coast, with Ghana seeking a return to the tournament. Head coach Philip Wache is counting on experience from their previous meeting at the AFCON to go past Zambia.
Yeah, we know Zambia already. I think the last AFCON, we lost 5-2 against them. And we are watching their videos, and we do a lot of mistakes about the game we play with them. But now we are working on it to see how we can improve.
He believes that the players within his team with tournament experience will be key to going past their opposition.
And the first time is our first time, and we don't have any experienced players among the team, but this time we have maybe 2 or 3 experienced players who can help us to qualify. Actually, we play the league and we pick our players for the national team. And I think we know all the boys already, and we know their fitness and their confidence level.
Ghana skipped the first round of qualifiers due to being ranked among the top 10 on the continent. The return leg of the fixture will take place in Zambia between February 7 and 8. The 2026 Futsal AFCON is scheduled to be staged in Morocco.
And that's your sports on GN today. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
I am Lois Shulademi, bringing you entertainment stories happening in the world. Let's get into our stories. Now, as preparations hit up for the 2026 Telesol Ghana Music Awards, gospel music heavyweight Joe Mettle has announced that he will not participate in this year's edition. His statement initially caused some concern among fans, prompting questions about whether he was stepping back permanently. In response, Mettle clarified that his decision is specific to 2026 due to scheduling conflicts and does not affect future participation in the awards. Fans can rest easy knowing the singer remains committed to music and ministry and will be back in future editions of the TGME.
Any nomination?
No. I've actually already had a conversation with them, so we are fine.
A conversation that?
Oh, I'm taking a small break.
From the TGMs?
For this year.
So you don't want to be part?
No.
For this year?
I won't be around, that's why. Because I saw the dates, I will not be around, that's why. So just a break, it's a quick break.
So how many years break?
I said this year. This new one.
So is Weja still alive?
Weja is still alive. It's just that Weja is no more for Reverb officially.
Okay.
It's still in the process, but it's no more for Reverb.
Okay. You're going to have satellites of the studio all across regions. Let's say one in Tamale, one.
If we get investors, why not? It's a concept. If it's possible to duplicate. But at this point, that's what we're trusting God for, to have more people come on board who believe in the vision. We can try and find a way to run it. This is not the biggest we wanted to do, but based on the space we're giving, that was what we're able to do with it.
That means when you get space, you do more.
If we have bigger spaces, why not?
Oh, okay.
Because the idea is this is a studio. If we had places that can properly host events and stuff, it would be great.
February is celebrated as the month of love, a season dedicated to affection, commitment, and emotional connection. Over the years, Kwabena Kwabena has built a reputation as one of Ghana's most consistent voices of love and relationships. His songs have become staples during Valentine's celebrations. Today, we kick off our Month of Love series by spotlighting 5 Kwabena Kwabena songs that continue to set the tone for the season.
Leading the list is one of Kwabena Kwabena's biggest hits, Royal Lady, a fan favorite. The song celebrates admiration and affection, portraying love as something noble and deeply valued. In Menewa, Kwabena Kwabena expresses loyalty and emotional closeness, a reminder of the importance of standing by one's partner. Meye is a heartfelt declaration of love and reassurance, reflecting vulnerability and sincerity in romantic relationships. With Enyameho, the artist explores emotional attachment and the desire for closeness, themes that strongly resonate during the month of love. Closing the list is Afraid to Lose You, a song that captures the fear of heartbreak and the importance of cherishing one's partner.
I'm afraid to lose.
Well, that's all for Showbiz. I am Lois Shaladimi. For more entertainment stories, please do log on to myjoyonline.com. Now, NFIDT, which of Kwabena Kwabena's song are you thinking?
All of it, because really, I hope you identify good music from noise. By the way, thank you so much for watching the news. I am MF Akosi Adeti. Please stay for Marketplace.